National cooperation to be convened in Beijing the 7th of this month. We have the honor that Mr. will be our guest of honor and will be the keynote speaker in this major forum. First of all, let me brief first about the programs. 25th of April, it will be, we call the thematic or sub-forums of totally 12 sub-forums to be attended by the ministerial delegations. And these 12 forums or sub-forums will be composed on the delegates, representatives from all over the world. And of course, Pakistan is a major participant of all these forums. They will include in the fields of trade, think tanks, social sector, infrastructure, finance, even including anti-corruption. The major theme is to build a sustainable development or cooperation between China and all its partners under the framework of Belt and Road Initiative. On the 26th, there will be the inauguration of this Belt and Road Forum. There will be totally about 40 heads of states, heads of governments, and the heads of the international organizations to be together to inaugurate this function. Prime Minister Imran Khan will be among them as the guest of our President, Mr. Xi Jinping. And on the afternoon of the 26th of April, there will be, we call the high-level dialogues. That is mainly among the leaders, among the national leaders of all these participants. On the 27th, there will be a whole day of roundtable discussions that will be include these ministerial delegates, ministers from that. So that is the major forum, major arrangement program for this 2 days Belt and Road International Forum. And on the 28th, we have another major event. That is the inauguration of Beijing's International Horticultural Exhibition. This is a world-class exhibition, and the Chinese government, along with the municipal government of Beijing, will show or demonstrate their development, their technologies, their efforts in building a environment-friendly or a green development of China. And we invite totally about 15 heads of the states or heads of the governments among these participants. And we specially invited Honorable Prime Minister Imran Khan to be our guest. So the Prime Minister will also take part in this International Horticulture Exhibition inauguration. That will be in the afternoon of 28th. More importantly, for our bilateral relations, that the Prime Minister, since he is in China, he definitely will meet our President and the Prime Minister. They will have long discussions on our bilateral cooperation, including CPEC. And also, they will discuss the international and regional situations for us to build more consensus and coordinate our efforts for a better relationship as well as for a more peaceful and stable regional situation. These bilateral important meetings will be arranged on the morning of 28th April. The Prime Minister will also meet our Vice President, Mr. Wang Qishan, on the 27th. As far as I know, that Mr. Prime Minister will also take this opportunity to meet other leaders from other countries. I think this is also a platform for Mr. Imran Khan to extend or expand its interactions with international leaders. And of course, we believe that his vision, his policies will be further discussed and appreciated by the international leadership. So this is roughly the program of this, I say, 2 day or 3 days arrangement. And China is ready. Both our President and our Prime Minister, Mr. Xi Jinping and Li Keqiang, they are looking forward to Mr. Imran Khan's visit. They are looking forward to another round of close interaction between China and Pakistan among the top leaders of our two nations. So far, that the preparation is still undergoing, and both the governments, both the business communities, both the intellectuals, even both the medias from the China and Pakistan, we are all working hard to make this visit by the Prime Minister of Pakistan to China a success. My job basically is working on the bilateral part of that, because the international forum, of course, it is an initiative by Chinese government, by our leader, the Belt and the Road Initiative. But after almost more than 5 years implementation of this initiative, you can see that a lot of achievements, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of participation have been mobilized. This is a Chinese initiative, but this is a project for common development and the prosperity of the whole region as well as for the world. We call it a public good to the world. It's a contribution from China, by China, for the world. Pakistan is a major partner under the Belt and Road Initiative. Although we have already signed agreements or MOUs with more than 150 countries and international organizations, but Pakistan is unique. Pakistan is outstanding. Pakistan is extremely important for China's implementation of Belt and Road Initiative. The first visit by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan, to China, that was last November. I had the honor to accompany the whole visit at that time. I also had the honor to witness the interactions and discussions between the top leaders of our two countries. At that time, I think basically we were discussing that how can we further carry forward our bilateral friendship and cooperation? How can we work together to further carry forward our cooperation in all areas, in the political areas, in the defense areas, in the cultural and education, and of course, most importantly, in economic areas. And how can we further carry forward our CPEC cooperation? Then we have the second chance of the top-level interaction between China and Pakistan. So compared with last November and the current now, this April, I think that we are in a much better standing and a much better foundation for us to enhance or for us to promote our cooperation. My briefing was basically focused on the Belt and Road Initiative, and in Pakistan, it is CPEC. Last November, when the Honorable Prime Minister was in China, both the governments and the leaderships decided that this CPEC is a mutually beneficial project. Both the governments will further carry forward with it. And during this forthcoming visit, I believe after almost another 5 months' time, both the leaders and the government will reiterate that this is a joint and mutually beneficial project. But we will have more specific projects, specific areas to work on. For example, during the forthcoming visit, we will conclude our second stage of the FTA. Under the Belt and Road Initiative, the trade cooperation is one of the major themes of the Belt and Road Initiative. And Pakistan is a very important trade partner in our neighborhood for China. So during the forthcoming visit, if we can conclude the second round of the FTA, I think that this will be a good boosting for our trade relations. Many media friends, you know that we have a big imbalance. China export to Pakistan a lot, but we don't import enough from Pakistan. So through this FTA, the Chinese government has decided to share 90% of our market towards Pakistan's commodities. We will give the maximum concessions of your commodities and export to China. Instead, we are not asking for your similar share of your market. We only ask for 65% of your market share. So this could be a very good document, a good arrangement. Why it took so many years? It took 8 years to finalize this. We started this second round in 2011, and finally we managed it because of the Belt and Road Initiative. Because this Belt and Road Initiative, the Chinese government, the Chinese side, has also a kind of involvement of our perception. That is, a developed neighborhood finally contribute to a developed China. A sustainable developing China could not survive itself without a sustainable developing neighborhood. So Pakistan, as our partner, we will do our best to contribute to your sustainable development. Second, I think we was, as everyone knows, that after last November's visit, that according to Mr. Imran Khan's vision, also according to your government's new priorities of building a Naya Pakistan, that you are paying more attention to the development of your private economic sector. We appreciate a lot of the new initiatives like ease of doing business, like the pro-investment, pro-export policies. So after consultation, the next area of our focused cooperation, that is in the industry cooperation. Last December, when the 8th round of the Joint Coordination Committee of CPEC was held in Beijing, both the governments have signed or finalized a general MOU on the industry cooperation. So through the industry cooperation, this will be the major, that is, we will engage the private sectors of Pakistan. We will encourage more joint ventures and investment in Pakistan. So there will be the announcement of the first SEZ, the SEZ in Rashkai of KP province will be started during this visit. Right now, all the preparation has been done. SEC is only an example and a kind of a model, a pattern of cooperation. In fact, this kind of industrial cooperation covers more areas. For example, for all the other joint ventures between China and Pakistan, either in Karachi, Lahore, in Balochistan, KP, everywhere else, they should also be similarly treated or favored by the two governments. But SEC is special because it has a special attention and a special care from the both sides. That is, our government and your government work together to provide, for example, this kind of utilities, facilities, and incentives for a successful functioning of these SECs. According to our plan, the first stage of the Rashikai SEC will include around 20 factories. Those factories will have the Chinese technology, will have the Chinese investment, but the purpose is that work together with local partners. They are not coming alone. They have to be here with local partners. The products will be basically for export. The employment basically will be from the local. And this is our plan. This is our plan. I believe that if the SEC model is successful, then we are working on several others. Like in Faisalabad, you have this Allama Iqbal SEC industry park. In Islamabad, we are discussing a high-tech SEC. That is basically is our IT industries, high-tech industries. In Dabej, in Sindh province, we are also discussing another SEC. But SEC is only a part of industrial cooperation. We still have other joint ventures. So since last November, you can see, at least as far as I know, 4 automobile companies have already established their factories, either in Lahore or in Karachi. Garment factories have been shifted from China to Lahore and Faisalabad because they are labor constraints. They need labor, a lot of skilled laborers. There are 4 new factories in your existing M3 SEC in Faisalabad who are manufacturing these glasses, manufacturing these automobile parts. They are manufacturing these porcelain or this kind of tiles, something. This enthusiasm is still coming from the Chinese side because of our Belt and Road Initiative, because of Pakistan's special position with CPEC. Your support, your participation will further encourage this kind of enthusiasm. So the industrial cooperation will be the major part of our next stage of the CPEC. Another major part of the CPEC will be the social sector. You know that after President Xi Jinping came to power in 2013, our government, the Chinese government, we also have a new concept of development. This new concept of the development basically only has one principle. That is, we focus on the welfare of the common people. People-focused, people-oriented approach should be adopted. And this Belt and Road Initiative, this CPEC, right now, after the discussion, and also I think it is Mr. Imran Khan's vision that our development should be deliverable towards the common people. So the second area of the next stage of the CPEC well, we focused on the social sector. Last December, that both the governments have a detailed discussions. So right now, we have finalized we call it 6 action plans, or 6 areas under the social sector's cooperation. One is education, second, health, third one is agriculture, fourth is water and irrigation, the fifth is human resources development, and the last one is poverty alleviation. These areas are not naturally separated. These areas, of course, is also not exclusive. Some are combined, some are joint projects, some are, but this sector's cooperation is a little different. They are not from the industrial sector. They are government driven. That means public expenses have to be used. So for this, we are going to provide 6 billion RMB, roughly $1 billion for this project. For example, we are going to establish 3 model villages of poverty alleviations. But where and when, you have to work with your government. That is, China will send its experts with their technology, with their expertise, with their equipment to help a certain village to enhance their economic development. But this kind of model village of poverty alleviation, it needs a lot of input from the local community. This is only example. For example, we are going to drastically increase our scholarships for Pakistan. 20,000 scholarships will be given to Pakistan for the next 3 years. We are going to enhance our skill development cooperation. And today, in a while, we will have the honor of the chairman of NAFTAC of Pakistan, that the Chinese companies, or the Chinese Companies Association in Pakistan will ink an agreement with this NAFTAC that for all the Chinese projects, if they want to have the local labor, local employment, NAFTAC will be our major partner and a major channel. For agriculture, of course, it is very important. We are still right now discussing an agreement on the agricultural cooperation. China basically is an agricultural country. Our reform, our economic development started from the agricultural sector. So only after giving more resources to the development of agriculture can we achieve that more general momentum for the whole economy. So the agricultural cooperation is composed of 2 components. One we call the industrial cooperation, because this industrialization of the agricultural sector is the modern way to upgrade its whole level. But under the social sector, basically we are going to build some agricultural display or agricultural technology and display center with the collaboration with your local entities, universities, committees, or PARC, all these. Then we will provide this technology and equipment. And we will also train, give the skills, give the technology to the local farmers in the major areas of your crops. There are others, like irrigation. Same thing. We will come to some dry lands to see what kind of technology, what kind of equipment. And from the very beginning, we will provide this kind of technology and equipment from our grantees if this technology or skills are useful, then we can encourage at the second stage for your industrial cooperation. So there are some things like health. We are going to send these medical teams with the collaboration of the local institutions to rural areas, to mountain areas, to see what we can do to increase their living standards. So this is the second major area. So an agreement under the social sector with the first, we have 27 projects of these 6 areas will be finalized. Some are very small projects, but I think that they will be very good for the community. Some maybe take some longer time because but all these projects, according to our plan, we will finish them within 3 years. And we hope that this kind of cooperation can have a real contribution for the betterment of the life of the common people on this. There are also some mega projects still coming, like the railway mainland one. Right now, I think during this forthcoming visit, we will conclude the technical package, technical plan of the first stage of the ML1. Railway is very important for the enhancement of the overall or general economic development for transportation. China has some experience, has some technology in this area. Definitely, we want to keep moving on that. Of course, there are still these CPEC projects which are ongoing, and we will keep them moving forward. But more importantly, this CPEC project should be utilized to contribute to your economy. So this is, I think, the main areas of our bilateral cooperation under the CPEC, under the Belt and the Road Initiative. But this is only what we are doing now. When the 2 leaders from China and Pakistan sit together, when more than 40 leaders of the international community sitting together, I guess their vision, their wisdom, their leadership will produce more ideas, not only for China, but also for China's cooperation with other countries. And it is our hope that this visit will have more results, will have more ideas for us to have a better conducting of the CPEC cooperation and other areas of cooperation. So this is what I can brief you for the state. If you have any questions, I'm here available.
Thank you, Ambassador. Now we are going to have... Please name yourself when you are listening to questions.
Please be seated.
My question is that, essentially, are you satisfied with the implementation of CPEC projects in Pakistan?
Thank you. So shall I first one in Sri Lanka is condemnable. Also for Pakistani, as far as the media report, 4 Pakistanis were also injured. There were 2 Chinese, unfortunately, among the victims. But this kind of horror, this kind of inhumane attack on the civilians is really surprising under this. So I join you. China also joined your leaders, your government in condemning this barbaric accident. We believe this kind of terrorism is a common threat to both China, Pakistan, and the international community. So we have to deal with this in a more stern way. But for regarding the CPEC, And of course, I'm satisfied the Chinese government with the Chinese leadership. We are satisfied the ongoing cooperation. As I said, we expect a lot from Mr. Imran Khan's visit. We expect a lot from the cooperation between China and Pakistan. There will be totally, I think, more than 150 countries will send their delegations. There will be more than 5,000 participants for this forum. So you can see that this is exactly one of the major international events. But Pakistan is different as far as for China is concerned. Pakistan is different because we are the closest friend and partner. Pakistan is different because we have a very successful CPEC running between us. Pakistan is also very important because if China wants to make this BNI or BRI successful, Pakistan is an inseparable, inalienable partner. And the CPEC is also an inalienable part of the BRI initiative. So as I briefed you, sir, that we have the successful conduction of the past 5 years. We right now have a new stage of the CPEC. We call it a new stage of broadening and expansion. That is, we are going to broaden the scope of cooperation. We are going to expand the areas of our cooperation. So we are satisfied, and also more importantly, we are confident CPEC and BRI initiative will have a brighter and shared future. Thank you.
Approach terrorists and other terrorists to disrupt secret projects in Pakistan.
I think this is a comment of yours. Okay, my thought. Yes, I think that this CPEC or Belt and Road Initiative, first, it is a new thing, a new initiative, only 5 years old. 5 years, we have done our best. We have done our most efforts to make it. But basically, that we should see or look at this nature of this BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. It is a commercial, it is an economic project. Basically working for the betterment, as I said, for the people. We have to separate it from politics, from geopolitics, or from others. But this Belt and Road definitely is also invited some different opinions. I mean, like India, they have a different view on it. But we are keeping working on India, that please understand this BRI or the CPEC. This is the commercial or economic project for the welfare of the communities, of the people. We welcome all the countries, including India, to join it and to work together with us for the betterment of the neighborhood, for the betterment of the people who are living here. But we also understand that they have different views on it. For us, I think as long as we made it very clear, this is a development-oriented project. And definitely, China will continue in collaborating with our partners to move forward with this cooperation. If you are not ready to join this, we can wait until you understand or until you see that the benefits of this cooperation. But the challenges are multiple. There are a lot of challenges. This kind of conceptual or perceptional views is a part of that. You can see a lot of suspicions and a lot of over-analysis, I should say, over-analysis. That this is a military strategic part. I don't know, really. At least from my part of job, I never imagined that it could be a military project. There are also like the security challenges. I think this is not only for the CPEC, or not only for China and Pakistan. There are some kind of accidents which are very much condemnable too. I think that this kind of development, this kind of initiatives, has invited or attracted the attention. If this attention is benign, is from the goodwill, is a kind of suggestions or advices for us to do a better project, I think this kind of attention is welcome. We need that. Likewise, the think tanks, academicians, institutions, you can help us, give us this. The purpose is how can we do a better job? But on the other hand, if this kind of attention comes from a kind of ill intention, a kind of sabotage, then I think these elements, these actors, they are trying to do their effort against our common road or common course of economy, of development. I think right now the world has entered into a stage that development and peace is the priority, is the theme of the age. Peace and development can finally prevail in this world. And the CPEC and the Belt and Road Initiative can contribute it. We hope, really hope, that all the countries, all the sectors could finally understand the BRI or the CPEC in its true sense and support, facilitate, contribute to its success. Thank you. An important neighbor to both China and Pakistan, immediate neighbor. But unfortunately, they were suffering for the past almost 4 decades. I served in Kabul before coming here. I spent 2 years in Afghanistan. And in 2016, both the Chinese and Afghan government signed the MOU under the Cooperation for Belt and Road Initiative. And during that MOU, we made it that China and Afghanistan will work together for the regional connectivity. But this regional connectivity and also economic prosperity. But this, for example, we were discussing railways in Afghanistan, highways between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and between Afghanistan and the Central Asia republics. There are a lot. For example, we were discussing some kind of optical fiber project linking China and Afghanistan. There are a lot of projects. Peace, stability, that becomes a big challenge. We have a good vision, we have a good projects, but we cannot do it because of the security situation. So for China, we're very much in favor of the peace settlement process, very much in favor of the reconciliation process. Peace and stability is the precondition for any kind of cooperation, for any kind of economic development project, including BRI. So when we see that there are talks between the United States and the Afghan Taliban in Doha, we welcome it, we support it, and we hope that they will deliver some kind of, give us the hope of a sustained peace and stability in Afghanistan. We of course also support this intra-Afghan dialogue because Afghanistan finally belongs to Afghans. You will decide your future. You will decide your plan or your policies in the future. I think in this sector, because China, Pakistan, we are all neighbors. We totally understand. We have 100% consensus as far as Afghanistan is concerned. And because we are neighbors with them, with Afghans, we have the shared future with them. If Afghanistan remains in an insecure or a kind of unstable situation, it is a damage to both China and Pakistan's development. So right now we are collaborating with Pakistan and other international countries or international partners that are trying to mobilize, promote, or facilitate the peace settlement process in Afghanistan. Thank you. Okay, I think you may not be an economist. I'm either. But I understand of this kind of CPEC cooperation, or what is we call the financial model of each and every project. There's no such a kind of general amount or volume of how much you want to spend. This is not the way for us to do these deals or do these projects. For example, for the past 5 years under the CPEC, we do have some figures because these projects have been finalized and implemented. Totally, we have 22 projects. There are not all major mega projects. Some are the very small projects, like a small school in Gwadar, like a vocational training center in this kind of cooperation, this kind of project. 11 have been finished. They are functioning properly. Another 11 are still ongoing. So in fact, these projects are very much diversified, various from different sectors and areas. For example, for this small school in Gwadar, one of our Chinese NGO, they donated $400,000 for that. So if you put it in a bigger number, I think you are talking about the loans, the borrowings from Pakistan to China, from Pakistan coming from China. Roughly, this kind of loans is, I should say, for these 22 projects, we have already $19 billion, $19 billion. But I want to make it clear, and we have made it clear one time and again, that they are not your national debt. Most of them are commercial loans. For $13 billion. They are commercial loans. Give you an example of how these commercial loans functioning. Like our power plant in Port Qasim. It is a joint venture. Chinese company borrowed $1 billion from Chinese commercial bank. They also have the partner is from a Qatari company. This company invested $1 billion. So totally they have $2 billion. They built these 2 power plants with the capacity of 1,300 megawatts around that. Huge one. Then they generate power, electricity. They sell it to your national grid. And then your national grid or your company will pay for the electricity. So they get the payment and they repay this money back to the Chinese banks or to the investors from Qatar. So this is the model for most of these 13 billion US dollars projects, including some of the hydropower stations and some of these wind, solar projects. So the government-to-government loans, we call the concessional loans. They are much cheaper. They come from our government. Basically, it's for these projects which need a long time to show their benefit, to show their efficiency, like the motorway, because you cannot get the repayment immediately, like the port. You cannot immediately see the economic. So this we have around 6 billion. But you just ask for the next 3 to 5 years, how much Pakistan will pay back from these loans to China? 0. We have at least shortest grace time of these loans is 5 years to 7 years. The total repayment period is 25 years to 30 years. So in fact, the CPEC, these loans from China, do not pose any kind of national debt at the current stage, even in the future, because they are concessional. They are very small in number. And we believe when the Pakistan can overcome the current temporary fiscal challenges, you still have a very, very promising future of emerging Pakistan, emerging economy. When your economy comes back to normal, this kind of loans, this kind of debts doesn't mean anything for you. Thank you. Please.
And you already mentioned that now you are in a better term here discussing.
Thank you. First, regarding the KCR, Karachi Circular Railway, KCR project, it's still in the agenda. But right now, because I think our technical teams and our companies keep working. But I think right now, why you don't see substantial, basically we are working on some, we call the economic model, that how can we do this project through a good financial model. In fact, since late last year, Pakistan right now, I think you run into a problem of the fiscal balance. And your government is working very hard to overcome this. So right now you will have a package with IMF. You will have a new budget. So during this period, when that your government is working hard with this mega plan for future development for your fiscal and these things. So naturally, that our financial discussion or financial package discussion of the KCR could be affected, because we have to see that what is your position, in particular fiscal position. And you also want to see, even your decision makers will be a little careful, because what kind of, for example, the package will be coming from the IMF, what is the final. So I think that for right now, for this mega project, because as far as we understand, it is good for the community, good for Karachi, and for the convenience of this is a good project. But how to do it? There are several models. For example, China can also provide loans for that. For example, we can have this BOT, or even can through your own financial resources, something like that. So these are all open. As long as this project is good, Karachi needs it, we are ready. But I think at this stage, I think we need more time to finalize a proper financial package. Regarding the PTI government, I have to say that there's nothing so-called slowdown or less interaction. In fact, you look at Mr. Imran Khan, the Prime Minister, he's visiting China for the second time within 8 months. And he has made it very clear that CPEC is a priority for his agenda. It's the most important project for the future economy. So we feel full confidence from the current government. And we also feel a lot of, I should say, expectation from the current government. we take the government of Pakistan a reliable, a very strong partner under the Belt and Road Initiative, under the CPEC framework. Thank you. Far, far beyond my jurisdiction. I have never been to Africa. I have never been, or I transit in Dubai only. I've never been to Middle East countries. My association is Pakistan and South Asia. But anyway, I try my best to this. Because Gwadar, but what Gwadar? In fact, Pakistan, you are in a location very close to Africa, very close to Middle East. I just, from my point of view, both Africa and the Middle East are very important areas of our Belt and Road Initiative. So our principled foreign policy for all these international disputes or issues is, first, we should respect all the host countries for their own choice of development of their ruling system and of their governance. Second, all these disputes should be settled through peaceful means, no militancy, there's no confrontation. We advocate for this. And thirdly, that peace and stability is the most valuable approach or valuable purpose for all the regional countries and areas. And I think I think, for example, today, Mr. Imran Khan, I think, is in Iran. And Pakistan is a very influential country in this region. I think especially with Middle East. You contributed a lot for the Middle East economy. So I guess, or I believe maybe, the leaders of Pakistan can contribute for the peace and stability in Middle East. And you also have a lot of economic projects in Africa. And you are also contributing for the development of Africa. So definitely, Pakistan is doing its contribution to the development of the whole region. And in this regard, China would like to be and is a partner of Pakistan for all these issues. Regarding how to deal with Libya, sorry, I don't know. I may find some answers for you. Thank you.
Last question.
No problem. Yes, I think, of course. But I think right now is a connected world, is a globalized world. Pakistan, China, our development could not be achieved without the cooperation with all the neighborhood, with all the countries in this region. So the CPEC, although it is a bilateral project, but we are not living in isolation. We are living in a vibrant region. So naturally, CPEC has every and each connectivity with these other countries. Some neighbors, maybe they are not very willing, but some neighbors or partners, they are more than willing to join what's called. So I think that this depends on a successful conduction of the CPEC. Definitely. In fact, 2 weeks ago in China, we have a new working group under the CPEC. We call it International Coordination, International Cooperation. That is the third party participation or the extension or whatever expansion to the third country has entered into the agenda of our next. Definitely, I think the Prime Minister of Pakistan and the Chinese leaders will discuss the possibility. But we have also have some principles. For example, all this kind of third-party participation should be thoroughly discussed or consulted between China and Pakistan. Second, all this participation, all this extension should be beneficial for Pakistan and also for China. I think this is some kind of principles. But generally, for example, CPEC is a project, but we have other lot of regional initiatives For example, China and Central Asia, we have energy corridor. For example, China and Saudi and the UAE, we have a lot of also energy cooperation under the BRI forum. But these are some areas they are overlapping, like between China and Pakistan and Afghanistan. Since 2016, we started a process called trilateral practical cooperation. We are discussing some facilities for your people-to-people contact along the border. We are also discussing the possible feasibility of the railway links between Afghanistan and Pakistan. There are a lot of, so these kind of projects or this kind of initiative, when they come to a certain stage, that when both China and Pakistan takes it necessary, then we will move ahead. Either then you use CPEC or not use CPEC. It is a regional connectivity. It's the regional cooperation. So this kind of agenda definitely will be discussed. And generally, I think both China and Pakistan want to see an inclusive cooperation under CPEC. We want to see CPEC as a platform to deliver public good, not only for our two countries, but also to the region. Thank you. Please.
And secondly,
To talk about GB, Gilgit-Baltistan, China will give $5 billion package for GB. No, I never said that. I don't know. I think maybe wrongly quoted, but we do have some package. But let me make clear, again, the CPEC and the China's system of international economic cooperation. In our system, our international economic cooperation, basically and generally and in principle, we do it through state-to-state channels. That we usually do not go directly to a certain part of another partner. So all these channels will be through your federal to federal government. So there are a lot of discussion, for example, kind of discussion that in, for example, in Balochistan, they don't have enough share about that, this and this. What is the major methodology of the CPEC is that China will join your own development agenda. We are definitely not coming to us here, to there, according to our own designs. We never. So like GB is very important for the CPEC, the KKH, and our traditional links. But if we do have some kind of plan for the GB development, we will go through your federal government. They will help us to allocate or to locate these projects. For example, right now the second phase of the KKH is implemented this. But for the GB, we have another channel of we call the local to local cooperation. That is a different model. For example, we have a lot of sister provinces and sister or cities. GB is a sister province with Xinjiang. So in fact, that our Xinjiang province or Xinjiang region has provided, last month, they provided some kind of hospital or health equipment, beds, something like that. But under the CPEC, it is a federal to federal. We don't. But for GB, definitely we are working. I have discussed with the chief minister. We are working on several areas. First is education. Second is education plus human resources development. So under the social sector, we do have a lot of projects. According to your plan we received under the social sector, a lot is in GB province. After this visit, we may implement. Second is environment protection. You know that this environment is a little fragile over there, so we have to be very careful. So right now we have a lot of environmental protection project to be implemented or to be started over there. Thirdly, this is the tourism, sightseeing destinations. A lot of Chinese tourists, they come to the area for that. So we want to develop some facilities in there. But this basically not through the government, it's a commercial through our investment or joint ventures. And finally, is that we want to build, because we have this access through KKH to Xinjiang. When Xinjiang was in the cold winter, you have a relatively good weather here. So you have this kind of fruits, vegetables. We are going to build a green channel of this export of GB, this kind of agriculture or fruits to Xinjiang, because we have this kind of supplement, this kind of need in Xinjiang market, in particular in the winter time. So this is what we are doing. And of course, for the social sector and this, definitely. But all this kind of allocation of the resources basically is through our federal channel. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I know you today. And as we all know, a lot of Shahzad from Malta to Sokas motorway. Fayaz Ahmed from Malta to Shabazz Atta from Malta to Soka motorway. BP wind power project.
这个我一个人给他们发呀。这我一人发呀。
Please give them a big hand.
Yes.
Mr. Bilal Han from Supikinari Hydropower Project, Harod Hydropower Project, Saeed Abdul Samad Power Plant at Tarkov number 2, Mr. Adnan
etc. After completion, this project will become the economic artery of the country and bring much more convenience to the local residents. The M5 section, Sucker to Multan, of the PKM project is being constructed by China Construction with 339 kilometers in length. China Construction will spare no efforts to ensure the successful completion of the project in August 2019. Hereby, on behalf of China State Construction Engineering Corporation Limited, I would like to extend my gratitude to the following. And first of all, since the inception of the project, more than 24,000 Pakistani employees have been recruited, and their diligent work has laid a solid foundation for successful completion of the project. I would like to thank them all very much here now. Secondly, I would like to thank the Pakistani government for providing the security teams such as military, soldiers, and local police, and establishing a strict security system just to effectively ensure the safety of the Chinese company and Chinese employees in Pakistan. Finally, I would like to thank the Chinese embassy in Pakistan, Pakistan media, think tanks, as well as all the people for their support and assistance to China's construction. And may all CPEC projects be implemented smoothly, and the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation be held in Beijing successfully. Thank you very much. Bahut shukriya.
Thank you, Mr. Wishin, for
Your Excellency, Ambassador Yao Jing, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today, I feel honored to be standing here delivering this speech on such a prestigious platform. I am Hamza Tariq and I have joined Sahiwal project and Huaneng family for 3 years. When the idea of erecting a coal-fired power project on the land of Sahiwal came up, it was appreciated by the local communities. This project was the pioneer of energy projects under CPEC aimed at eliminating the energy crisis of Pakistan with efficient planning, quality construction and safe operation of power plant. Huaneng Shandong Rui devotes itself towards this great cause. And I feel lucky to be a part of such a tremendous journey that turned this dream into a reality. The plan was to build and operate Pakistan's first supercritical coal-fired power plant which has to be environmental friendly. A technology unlatching new horizons to Pakistan's power industry, generating 1,320 megawatt. For this purpose, my Pakistani colleagues and I were sent to China for systematical training, which was provided by the esteemed professional experts of China. During the construction phase, Pakistani and Chinese colleagues worked hard together towards the common goal. As of March 2019, the output of Sahiwal coal power plant has exceeded 16.11 billion kilowatt hours, which has injected a strong impetus to the socio-economic development of Pakistan. As the second Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation will be held in Beijing from April 25 to 27, the success of Sahiwal coal power plant has proved this initiative to be a great success. As a flagship project under BRI, CPEC is not only the testimony of a great friendship between two countries, but it is also a symbol of rapid development and progress of two nations. I think that it's a beginning of new era, an era of brotherhood, an era of strong economic development, an era of enlightening people's life for the betterment of the people of both nations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you so much for the signing ceremony. Now I invite
Ambassador, Your Excellency Yao Jing, much appreciate your support to NAFTTC. It has been a tremendous support that we have received from the Ambassador. He visited us a few weeks back and we cannot thank him enough how much interest he has shown in a critical area of Pakistan, which is vocational training, skills development. His sensitivity and understanding for this major, not only social area, but also economic area in terms of human capital development is, for me, was surprising for someone to come and have a deep appreciation for this. So again, Ambassador Yao Jing, thank you very much for your interest. Today's ceremony is critically important, where the All Chinese Employment Association, All Pakistan Chinese Employment Agency Association is signing a MOU with NAFTTC, where we will be the conduit for supplying a lot of the workers, Pakistani skilled workers, to Chinese companies. Now, that is something which a lot of people have been looking towards that as CPEC grows in magnitude, its importance, and private sector gets more involved, the Chinese sectors will be employed more and more, which they've already been doing, but the right quality of Pakistani skilled workers. Now it is incumbent on us as NAFTTC also to provide the right quality of staff, the workers. We have to up our game to meet the requirements of Chinese companies, which by and large tend to be very high. So we will endeavor to make sure that the skilled workers that the Chinese companies are hiring are of a sufficient standard where they can meet the requirements of Chinese companies. And so that's something which we will be benefiting from, because we will understand the critical level of requirement, the high standards that are requirement, and we will be upping our game on a constant basis. So this is a great opportunity for Pakistan. We have to thank the Republic of China for affording us this opportunity, the Chinese companies, and in turn, we have to do our effort in making sure that we can meet up to expectations. Ambassador, thank you very much again for facilitating.